Good morning, everyone. Friday, March, no idea, 23rd, 22nd? March 22nd, 2019, and we're covering, well, I can't see without my glasses.
Oh, okay.
We're covering social magic today. So I think this is a little funny that I wrote this a little bit.
Too. I think it's hysterical.
Just a tad funny. And I don't need it from the peanut gallery, Brian and Steve, but I'm sure that they'll give me a little bit of ha-has throughout this. I love social media, how other people do it. I don't know how to think socially yet. You know, it's funny. I heard someone it was the CEO of Burberry at the time, and she said, what I've realized at my age, and she and I are the same age, she said that I speak English and the world speaks social. And I thought, isn't that interesting? That's so true, because it is. It's a way that people are communicating and staying in tune. I would never have thought of not having all my magazines and going through them every month, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I would go through page by page, rip out the things I like, and keep them in a pile, and sometimes keep them for years because I love them. And now I maybe look at a magazine when I have time, because I follow the magazines I like, but look through a magazine when I have time and take a photo of it and keep it in my feed, right? So yeah, the world speaks social. So how do we help them do that? The definition.
Well, and I think the world may be social, but just like people speaking the English language, there are a lot of different dialects, and there are some who do it extremely well and some who don't do it extremely well.
That makes sense too.
And so you have to make sure that when you think social, or when you inspect social, or when you plan it, that you are getting feedback on how do you look, feel, and sound. Is it brand identified with how you want your brand to look to the general public?
Right.
And yet in kind of an unpolished way, because that's the whole idea of social.
I think social is raw.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But if I'm going to walk the business and check to see how we look image-wise, I'm going to fix a product, straighten a chair, fix a mat, dim the lights, change a banner. And I don't do that enough socially. I have someone else on staff do that. And I don't have the scan socially yet to accomplish that. However, what I keep looking at is, these are berries. Are mine up there? Okay. These are berries. I'm not berries, Tricia's.
I've never seen her.
No. But I'm going to wear them. These are, when you look at, what point was I making?
I have no idea.
I have no idea. So let's move on. So let's look at the definition and come back to what we're talking about. Social media is a platform to meet your customers where they are at that moment, whether they're at work, riding along in the car with someone else driving, I hope, and where they're sitting on the sofa at home at night, just having their sit and stare time. It's to meet them where they are, to show up in an authentic manner, and add value to them through content and engagement, period. And so whenever you think about it, I mean, there's many definitions out there, but whenever you think about it, this is what you're trying to accomplish. Connecting with them about who you are, what you do, when you do it, why you do it, and have them feel a connection to you. Okay?
And have it be now and current.
Well, you'll see later on, not only now and current, but forecasting what we're coming up with, projecting and positioning ourselves to tease our customers that we're here for them in the future. We plan some exciting things. Okay, so let's go to my slide first, because this is about Terry Cowan. And right here, you know, you look at comfort zone, fear zone, learning zone, growth zone, right?
Mm-hmm.
I probably am in the fear zone when it comes to social media, leaning on the learning zone and talking to people that are in their growth zone that are very comfortable with it. This is a great slide to work with your staff, whether it's talking about their development and maybe their grooming and cutting skills or their technical skills in color. It's allowing you to say, this is where you are. You're safe and comfortable. I want to push you outside. Many of us know how to push someone into a different zone technically. Now we're going to talk about today, how are we pushing ourselves socially?
Mm-hmm.
And I know what I'm attracted to, and you're going to see one of the slides that comes up. What makes you stop? I know what makes me stop, right? You know what makes you stop. And we'll talk about those different things. The trick is to find out what makes your guests stop. And that's going to create that connection and that engagement. All right, so good. Use this one in the future because I think it's really good. All right, guest involvement. You know, it's I think for years, whether it was a restaurant or an airline, they didn't know how to communicate with you unless you were in their four walls or in their aircraft and fly the friendly skies. This is what we're going to do, but we had no proof of it. If you have direct contact with your customer, your guests, and social media must be a part of your outreach to them. It's not optional anymore. They want people to be part of that outreach. And how I think about this is, let's talk about the next one and then let's capitalize on it. A great product is good inside your four walls, but it doesn't mean anything to the outside for those people that don't see it. So there's things that happen at PSC every single day, every day, that people should hear about or at least know that's going on. It's never the same day here every day. Something's going on. Mm-hmm. And it's your opportunity to say, even though you weren't here today, this is what's going on here. That's probably what people are doing best in salons from social media and all the ones that I looked at and is their before and after pictures, or just look at the color that went out today. And it's usually the back of the head and a side view. That's what I see mostly. But there's a whole lot more that's going on in salons. I said the other day to a group, you know, quick change artists could be a whole campaign that you do. Quick change artist is something that Vegas was always noted for with their theater productions and such. But we are quick change artists in salons. Change of the week, before and afters, makeovers. Just think about those shows, why people are so drawn to Love It or Listed or Fix Her Upper or those shows. What was the one? I can't remember. Where they give them $5,000 and change their look completely. People couldn't wait to see the before and afters. And it was not only just hair and makeup, but the way they dressed, the way they carried themselves, and so on and so forth. What I love about that is people want to see the difference. So don't just post your afters. They want to see what your canvas was when you started and what was after. Okay.
You know, something just came to me as I listened to you talk with all the little word plays you were doing on the word change. You could also do something that would be unique. I haven't seen anybody do it yet, called spare change.
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't that be fun? Just little quick afterthoughts with the guest that's ready to leave your chair. A spare change, a little change that's made. Or spare change could be your outtakes. Well, just some fun.
And you also could then, remember, yes, and? Mm-hmm. You could also say, and we're also going to do spare change this month, and all of it's going to go to our favorite charity, right? So you tie everything together, you lap it, and create this movement. You know, let's talk about those three things. We've done this in previous presentations, where what kind of response team do you have? Is it no, yeah, we can't do that. And so many people can get known for being someone that says no. So they get so known for it, no one goes to them anymore. The next one could be, yeah, we've done that, but it didn't work. And then you're on, okay, well, now the energy just deflates. Then you could be a yes and just like Steve capitalized on my idea of quick change artist, and he went to spare change, and then I said, and then charity, that's yes and. Just keep it going, even if it's ridiculous. It keeps your mind thinking of the possibility, right? Okay, so let's talk about who's driving the bus socially. I had an interview with, I don't know, I shouldn't say this because I don't know what magazine I was doing it with, Modern or American, but they called a few people and asked them, distributors, salons, manufacturers. They were getting a perspective from everybody on who's driving your social media bus. And the first question that they had asked is, are you outsourcing? And we had been, and I just felt like something was missing. And so the question I came up with when I was on the phone with them is, how do you outsource your culture? How do you outsource that? We ironically enough, at about the timing of this interview, had brought it inside. Mm-hmm. And we're thrilled at the little nuances Lauren's able to witness and create. That outsourcing, number one, you're going to miss it, or you didn't get a hold of them, or you didn't call, or someone didn't capture it. When you're living it here and you can feel that energy or that buzz come up, you almost say, oh, someone catch this and make sure, now we hear, and make sure it goes to Lauren, mm-hmm. Right? I like that a lot.
Absolutely.
And so you outsource. If you outsource, you're outsourcing in many cases without input, or it's not enough to keep it alive.
Outsourcing in many cases.
In many cases.
Yeah.
And so the last one is who's driving the bus for you? We've started to encourage, and we're thinking about how we're going to incorporate this, but part of the career path, we've always had attending meetings, hours of education, what your productivity statistics need to be, whether it was dollar per guest in service and take home, your rescheduling, your services per guest, and your man-hour ratio, the pace in which you work. Maybe now it also has to be your social footprint that you create for yourself to help drive traffic into the salon. So who's driving the bus socially? Your systems have to drive the bus socially. And it's your person that you're choosing to do so. And it's also, how are we going to put this motion in place? And we'll talk about that as we go.
It also, it takes a commitment of time and in some cases money, but not much. I mean, that's right now, social media, advertising wise, is probably the cheapest investment for what the reach is and what the abilities are. But it's also unknown. It's not something that our age group is real familiar with, or even if you go down to Gen Xers, crazy enough that it's the young people that dominate the creativity of social media. And it's also them who move social media from one venue to the next. It's funny, when Facebook became old, it became the kids' parents' place. They moved to Instagram, right? So Instagram, which was owned by Facebook. And it's just so interesting that it keeps moving. So now it's on Snapchat and places like WhatsApp, and certainly Pinterest had its time and place, especially for the food industry and our industry. But I'm not hearing much about that anymore. So now what's kind of the next wave is, what other apps or programs do I need to be able to maximize my social footprint? Mm-hmm. And so one might be a social manager, like a Hootsuite. There's other packages. It's not the only one, but that's the one that I'm familiar with. There's another one which is creative content, helps you with creative content output, which is called Canva, Canva. There's another one that's Animoto, which allows you to take pictures and put them into an animated sense.
Had I known all this, I would have had them on the slides. I'm hearing this for the first time.
So you get into situations. Now, sometimes we can go app crazy. And I think that there are times when, even in our schools, our team, in an effort to communicate better, has come up with I forget which one that they're using. They're using an app just for the team to communicate. The challenge is that if that's the only thing that they're using that particular app for, it becomes an afterthought. So that's where creating a closed Facebook group, a closed group on WhatsApp, an app that you're in and out of every day anyway, and allowing that to be where you circulate and share these ideas, so that when you put that digital footprint out there as a group, you've got a way to do that. The problem is keeping a consistency and the right kind of footprint out there. And it takes time. It's something that never had to be on a salon owner's schedule, that's for sure. Never had to be on our schedule from a business standpoint. Never had to be on our schedule from an expense and an investment standpoint, but it is now. And it will be going forward.
Okay. So post-worthy. This was interesting. Is it post-worthy? Is it something people want to see? And what is post-worthy? I think when I think about post-worthy, so let's say someone shows hair color. I think don't just show hair color. What was your inspiration behind it? I mean, you're talking so many times when we post, we're almost talking to our own understanding, because you're posting as a hairdresser, not as someone that's trying to wow the customer. So talk to the guest's understanding. What's your inspiration? Why did you do this? I love inspiration that maybe it's a pile of pennies and then the color hair that you did next to it is all copper with highlights and copper highlights and a beautiful brunette. But what is your inspiration? Help the guest understand what you see while you create. And I think that's a big deal to be post-worthy. I like when InStyle will post, and let me give you an example. My favorite section of InStyle is take this item, and let's say it's camouflage, let's say it's camouflage. This is how 20-year-olds should wear it. This is how 30-year-olds should wear it, 40s, 50s, 60s, and they go up to 70s sometimes. This is how you can wear camouflage. I love that. So the same thing could be used. If you're wearing a bob in your 20s, this is what you can do and go a little crazy, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and how you can keep it current and updated. Post-worthy gets the guest involved, and it helps them say, ooh, I understand, I can relate, I want in too, right?
I think
Trying to get an example.
I saw a brilliant post this morning from Gerard Scarpese of Hairbrained. And it was a simple, I'll kind of show you. It was a simple drawing of the 5-point haircut that Sassoon was famous for, the 5-point haircut. And he said this, I'll just read the start to it, but it's a good post to your target audience. This isn't a good post to our 14-year-old daughter. The image might catch your eye, but the post isn't to our 14-year-old daughter. The post is to someone that loves the beauty industry, loves hairdressers, and is going to be drawn to something like that. He says here, the 5-point cut, it means different things to different people. What it means to me is salvation, family, and pride. And then below that, he talks about each one of those 3 words. Why was it salvation for him? Why was it family? And why was it pride? And when you read it, I mean, it's just amazing. And here's what it evoked. And he just put this out there. It's already been liked by 800 people or so, and it's already had 80 comments from the beauty industry, which is that's strong. But one that I see here, someone wrote, "I love this. I've never played with this haircut. How? I think I need to grab a doll head and practice. Also makes me think, my 3 words for what hair has given to me would be direction, connection, and presence." And his response to that person was, "Let's get together and do it." meeting. Let's get that doll head. Let's get it together and let's cut this hair together. And I love that. I love the essence of it. I love that he knows his market. I love that he responded to his market in a way that fits with what his post was.
I hear a whole campaign on, when we talk about what are the 7 things of how do you honor what we do. And the first one is, how do you honor your craft? How do you honor on your guest? How do you honor your teammates? How do you honor the salon, and so on and so forth? This would be a great campaign, is why do you still love what you do? And that would be a posting campaign, is people want to go to people who love what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And even watching for March Madness to start, my goodness, to watch the intensity on the players and watch the lack of intensity in others. You can see who people just absolutely love the game, that they don't want to be anywhere else. They were born to play basketball. And that's the biggest thing. When we look at salons that are creating magic socially, it's because they're creating magic in their hearts. They love what they do, and it's a form of expression for the salon to get that out there. No one wants to be around a business that's bad. I have to tell you, yesterday I had to go to the school to pick up Jack, and I had to talk to myself the whole way in the school, walking in. And I said, I've got to go in and talk to the 2 unhappy, unfriendly secretaries. And I walked in and I said, I'm going to smile and I'm going to create energy first. So I said, ladies, good morning. How are you? Uh-huh. Didn't say hello back. And then they just looked at me, and I said, I would like to get Jack out of school. He has a doctor's appointment, please. Your ID on file. I mean, I thought, I'm going to poke him right now. I can't stand either of them. And I can't believe the principal tolerates that kind of mood. Do you like them at all?
This is the last year we're going to have to deal with them.
I can't stand them.
I finally got them over to at least being friendly.
Okay, well, they're not friendly. And I don't like them. And then my friend Janet was telling me about, I told you this, she went into a place to buy some printing paper or something. And it was her first time in that establishment. So all the cashiers were there standing in jeans and a logo t-shirt, but a gentleman in a suit was standing at the first register. And she said, excuse me, are you available? And he said, the light's on. And she said, Terry, I just couldn't believe it. How could that be a response?
Mm-hmm.
So indirectly, why I bring this up is post-worthy either attracts them to your business, or it's a nothing, or it pushes them away. You have to make sure that you're inviting. Come join us, come join us, come join us. And that's what you're trying to create.
So many times, thinking about the outcome of what you want your post to be, young people want their posts to get likes. There's no 2 ways about it. They're collecting likes like they were getting paid for them, and they're not. What you're looking for is a response from your audience, not just a quick. Instagram is so easy to like, to like something. You're just scrolling down, they double tap with their thumb and keep going and double tap the next, and they don't even know what they've double tapped, to be honest. When Terry says what makes them stop, a post-worthy post makes someone stop, but it also evokes a response other than just that double tap. Now that response might be a share. I've sat in audiences where speakers that are expert in social have said, to a business, a share is more powerful than a like. So collect shares, not likes. Another has said, and I think it's very true, get used to posting questions along with your posts. So let's say you're known for carrying a particular brand. Ask what their favorite is. Say, here's my favorite. What's yours? And something that carries on, because social is supposed to be a public conversation. Or
a conversation that 2 people are having that everyone can witness, right? So if your style person that you talk to, mine is Janet, if I ask her, what do you think about this? I want her opinion because I value it, and then I don't mind other people seeing what her answer is. That's kind of what social media is all about.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so what we're looking for in these posts and what makes you stop, we just said that, it's got to be contagious, it's eye-catching, it's me too, ooh, 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 I want in, what is it? And it makes you stop, to engage, to connect. Those posts that are 4 paragraphs long, I'm sorry, I don't even stop. First of all, I don't have time. My eyes don't allow me. I'm more of a visual person, so I'm going to be drawn to photos and color and energy, and reading something that the font's probably too small for me. If I don't have my glasses on, it's not going to make me stop. And what gets your attention, and if you attract what you really are about sometimes, you know what's going to make your guest stop too.
And in reality, there's so many posts and there's so much on all of our feeds. That's why I would ask the question, what's better, a post or a story? Because right now, the whole movement on everything social is in stories. It's stories and live. Those are the two things that people are moving toward, because live calls you to interact.
Mm-hmm.
And stories have that, it's only going to be here for a short period of time and then it's gone. And I'm not talking Snapchat. It's the same way with Instagram stories, Facebook stories. They're there for one day and they're gone. So if you want to, let's say I want to keep up with Brian and what's going on in Brian's world. Rather than go through the feed and hope that Brian has a post in the feed, I just look through the stories and make sure that I look at Brian's story.
Okay. It's a little over my head, stories yet. I still don't completely get it. And it just sounds complicated to me. A post is a picture, a story to me is a book, but it's not. I know that, but that's how I read.
Mm-hmm.
So when you think about this, you've got to take action. It's not okay just to know it. Action plan, action steps, execution. And one of the things that we did, oh my God, I've got a typo. One of the things that we did with Lauren is she just kept interviewing us on staff and then bringing a calendar and saying, I'm going to do this on Mondays. How about this on Tuesdays, Wednesdays? And we created a theme and a plan. And she's followed it, and it's given her direction. She doesn't have to talk, what should we do today? She's always looking to fill what we put down for what we're trying to accomplish. And good things. I mean, I'm already hearing from our customers, love what you're doing on social media. Amen, thank you, hallelujah. I'm thrilled that Lauren's hitting the mark. And I'm also want to know what else we should be doing, and I would love the insight, and so should we. So should Lauren. So look at the photos. Here's my typo.
I like G-based apps.
G-based apps is really good.
I often go for those.
So use free apps or fee-based apps to upgrade the quality of photos.
That's Google-based, right? G?
Yeah, G.
Yeah.
That's good.
Oh, the G
That's good.
Suite.
Yeah.
So I don't know what these apps are, but you can do things to make your photos look even better. And whoever's doing, I mean, some people post a selfie and it looks like a magazine. Someone posts a selfie and it's all blurry, right? So get involved in finding out how do you make your photos look good. One of the things that during my research, it says always host a caption. Don't just post a photo. Host a caption. Who created? I don't know, Steve.
So you can host it or post it, but be sure it's there.
Always host a caption. Wow, what was I doing yesterday? Getting a point across that people want to see. So you could say, this is an inspiration, or hair by, or so on and so forth. But make sure you're doing something. What I read, it's about getting the likes, but also we want people sharing it. So it should say getting the shares and having events to celebrate what you do and people sharing it again. So not only do they get invited, you post it, they come to it, and then they post again after they've been to it.
Mm-hmm.
So you're getting momentum over and over again. So let's say we did a view launch here. We posted that we were doing a view launch. We did the view launch and showed pictures, and then people came back and said, wow, this is what views meant to us. So view it was over time. Mm-hmm. It wasn't once view. With all the shares and the comments, it keeps view alive, right?
Yes.
Okay. So when you think about one of the things that's happening, because we have websites and such, I can't believe how many business owners don't have cards on them anymore, business cards, or they'll say, hi, you can just find me, put my name in. It's not that easy sometimes to find a business if you don't know the name of it, or just find an individual that's going to lead you to their business. Why are you laughing at that?
Because you don't remember the name of the business anyway.
I never do.
You always change it.
I give it a new name by the time I get back. But how do we help them have their cards or find a way to find people easy? I mean, I Google everything, but sometimes it's on the fourth or fifth Google try that I find something. Customers don't want to work that hard to find somebody. They want it instantaneously. So when searching, this is where are we easy to do business with? When searching on information, people are on their phone and want answers right now. Last night I had to find the White Sox training academy, but I put White Sox Academy. It didn't come up. Because I didn't put training in, it didn't come up. So sometimes when you don't have things specifically, it goes different places. That's my point on that. It's not always an easy, obvious lookup. So even last night I had a tough time. So they don't want to take the time to have to hunt for the information. One and done. Okay, I didn't find it. They're not in there. So information should be easy and concise. Hours of operation, service menu, pricing, website, social addresses, and calendar of events. These things should be easily available for the customer to see. I am using more on websites, hours of operation. When you bring up the website, it'll say they're closed right now, right? Mm-hmm. But sometimes it'll say it's closed, and it doesn't say what their hours are. When are they going to open again? Sometimes it doesn't say that. I think that's weird, but that's just me. All right, I understand you're closed. When do you open? Not listed.
Also, what's so interesting is that when some, and this is not necessarily social, but it's Google, I find it interesting that they graph when their busiest times are. Mm-hmm. If you were to Google PSC, it would come up and say when our busiest days of the week and times are.
Well, is it busiest phone call? Is it busiest
physical visitor?
Physical visitor. Mm-hmm. It's not our volume busiest. Right. So if you did that in a restaurant, you would think, if you don't know how to read it, I would have thought, how do they know? How do they know what our busiest times of the day are? But it's by visitor. Got it. Good. All right, consistency. This kind of goes along with it, just making sure. It's kind of a duplicate. Sorry. Ooh, wait a minute. I'm out of order a little bit. Okay, so let me go. I'm going to go down 2 slides. Enter, enter. So one of the things that I wanted to do was leave the industry. Sometimes when we leave our industry, it's easier to learn from someone else versus getting stuck on what we're thinking about. The farming industry now is using marketing and social media as a way to survive. And I was so surprised to read about that during my research, because if you would have said this to Uncle Lee years ago, what would he have said? Oh, I'm not doing that, right? Can't imagine. Successful farmer, but today, in order to compete, you have to market, and you have to have a plan that everyone's aware of what you're trying to accomplish in your farming. So let's go back up one. So how they have to think through it is, they have to know when their crops are available, what's their timeline, what's their deadline focus, what new items, like for example, let's say during apple season this year, we're going to do apple cider donuts and fresh cider, not just apples. We're going to diversify a little bit. We're going to do our fresh stands this year. We're going to put in fresh stands around the community. We have to get permits, but dates, signage, teasers, promotions. That doesn't just happen by accident. They don't come in one day and say, let's put a stand up here on the corner of Essington. They've got to have their plan in place. I think if we're guilty of anything in the salon industry is we're still living in the moment too much, and our plans aren't obvious. We try to file suit. I think when the manufacturers went to bi-monthly promotions, we kind of followed suit there, but we didn't follow suit with bi-monthly promotions and what's going on in our businesses. Like, are we doing a service promotion? Are we doing a color promotion? Are we bring a friend or something? We're just relying on the product lines that we represent. And what's difficult about that is, and I can tell you in my life, 2 months goes by like that. Boom, 2 months. Okay, and then now we have another promotional period, But is it creating energy in our business? Is it creating traffic? Are people interested in what we're doing? And I can tell you, get a hairspray and the second one free, that's not enough to create energy, right?
Right.
It's got to be a whole lot more than that to do that. So watch. So what the farms are doing with every customer they come in contact with, not only on their social media, but anyone that comes to the farms, please follow us on Facebook and Instagram. They're telling everyone to do that. Some businesses do a great job of asking the right questions of their customers every time. Some don't. I can go to Jewel and they'll say, are you playing Monopoly during the Monopoly? I can go to another register and she doesn't say, are you playing Monopoly? There has to be an absolute commitment to say, please follow us and share on Facebook and Instagram, should we grab your attention. Now, look at this plan. I'm gonna move this for a second. Look at this plan of what they're doing. They want their pop-up stands to be ready to go, and they're going to do pop-up stands May, June, July, and August. They know strawberry picking is June. They know raspberry, gooseberries, and currant is in July. Peaches and blackberry are available in August. Apple picking starts in September, and fall harvest along with pumpkins in October. They're going to do Christmas tree stands in November and December, and sleigh rides in December. Let's say this is a farm on top of their normal farming. This is what they're going to do. How are you going to accomplish that? And that's the whole point. I love the comparison of farming and the extras to salons. Salons are still going to be farming, meaning doing their guests, right? But what are the extras they're doing to keep that attention focused on their location, their goods?
And to keep engagement.
Yes.
It's interesting. When you look at analytics for social media, and you should be, if you're not, weekly, we get a report that talks about reach, so the amount of reach you've had, plus the amount of engagement. But let's look at it from a business standpoint.
Is engagement like and shares? That's engagement?
Engagement is interaction with the media itself that you posted.
Okay.
And how did it engage outward.
Okay.
But the fact of the matter is that just think of the concept inside your business. If we're just taking care of the people that come in, if we're just doing hair, is that engagement?
No, that's why I love this comparison. Because if we're just harvesting now, if we're just farming, is that engagement?
No.
No. And your crops can get really bad really fast.
That's the commodity side.
Exactly right. And if you allow that to happen in your salon, when you've got this opportunity to create the extras. So I hope I'm as excited, or you're as excited hearing the comparison, and I hope they are too, that if this can be done, so too can we create this kind of engagement with our customers. However, You're not going to get it if you have people that say, I just want to do hair and go home, right? You've got to have a unified team that understands the responsibility of this, right? I'm sure they're hiring college students for May, June, July, August to run these stands. I'm sure that they're creating a whole kind of way to help customers come in and pick their own fresh fruit, right?
Mhm.
Come on in. And if I get to enjoy, that's labor I'm saving that doesn't have to pick the strawberries, right?
Mhm.
It's kind of cool how it's double-sided. I look at this as movie trailers, right? Last movie we went to, they were talking about a release that was going to happen at Christmas next year. Why are they doing movie trailers 6 to 9 months out? To tease their audience,
Right.
to prepare them and to whet their appetite on future cinema. What are we doing to get our customers excited? And most of the time we're not. If you go in and look at a marketing plan for most salons, it's just doing what we're doing. And really, the only thing that really changes, and sometimes that doesn't even change, is the promotional offerings from the manufacturers. So, June, like we said, did you want to say something?
Well, I was just thinking that if we think about the salon and the way that it looks, and there are people that are absolutely dedicated to it looking fresh always.
Mm-hmm.
But could you imagine going to a movie theater and having all of the posters that are up all around be 2 years ago's movies that have nothing to do with now or nothing to do that's looking forward?
But we have that in salons sometimes.
We have that in salons.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we do to change that? That's kind of number one. Then if you sat in the movie theater and you saw trailers for movies that were 2 years ago or a year ago even, all movies that had already been seen, or that you looked and said, am I in the right place almost? Because it would feel so out of place. And then what does it sound like? Not the movie theater, but what does your business sound like? Because you know what? They said when computers first came out that computers didn't make a business run better. If you had a sloppy, poor system in place, you would have a sloppy, poor computer system.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's the same thing with social media and the in-person experience in the salon. If it tends to be a little bit stale, or if it tends to be a little bit boring, or if all we're doing is making the donuts, so to speak, then our social is going to just make the donuts. Our social is going to be a little bit stale, a little bit boring. It's the same thing. It's where does our inner energy come from that makes the business? I mean, you use social magic. You didn't say social media. You didn't say social humdrum. You said social magic. Magic is energy. Magic is, in some cases, in all cases, illusion. But magic is what we want to put out there that draws a guest in. Try walking past a magician doing a magic trick.
You have to
It's pretty hard to do. You got to stop and look. So where's our magic? Where's our magic in the salon? Where do people have to stop in the salon?
Oh, it's funny. Yesterday, Jack and I were driving, and he was in the back seat, and there was a car accident, and he said, "Why does everyone stop and look?" And I said, "Because I'm hoping they're hoping everyone's okay." But yes, everyone has to stop and look at the accident. We want them to stop and look. Not that we're an accident, but we want them to stop and look. So June on the calendar is open for strawberry picking. So when do we start teasing our guests about strawberry picking season? And then you can get big with strawberries. You could do a strawberry jam contest if you wanted to with your top customers. You could do a pie eating contest. You could have high tea because strawberry jam is always part of high tea. Mm-hmm. You could play with it. These are just a couple of things that just came to the top of my head. But how do you get the guests involved? So let's say we want to do strawberry season, but ours is with strawberry hair color. And then you play with that, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, we've got an opportunity to follow what we do in color. We should be studying what galleries do because they probably have some things that we could copy. The food industry, like farming, could do. How do we capitalize on it? The drink of the day, I mean, we think about milkshake and their cocktails. play with that. Can you do a happy hour in your salons with cocktailing? What we do on a daily basis, yes, but it takes effort, and it takes effort until it becomes a habit. If you do early bird or cocktail hour every single day, it's only going to be awkward at first, and then it's just cocktail hours from 5 to 7. We do it every single day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you have July, raspberries, currant, and gooseberries. When do we start advertising that? What do we want to accomplish with that? August is peaches and blackberries, like I said. And when do we start? In September, apples. They said we didn't wait until September to say it for fear they would go somewhere else. We have to be the one that talks to them about apples. Now, I think about the harvest, where the kids go to pumpkin patches.
Mm-hmm.
When do those billboards start going up?
Some of them are up all year round,
But
it tells you when they're beginning.
exactly, and a lot of times they're starting to go up July or back to school,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not waiting till harvest. They're creating the thought of harvest, and that's what we want. We don't want them to plan to pick apples somewhere else. We want them to pick apples here. That's the whole point. We have to set that up for them. And look at what they did on one of their posts. This has nothing to do with apples, but cider donuts are now available at Garden Patch Farms during apple season. Well, Steve, if you saw that, what would happen? We'd be driving to Garden Patch Farms.
In fact, I have someplace I have to go.
See you later. Gotta go. But would you ever expect that to be a farm post? It's
No.
wonderful. No, you wouldn't expect that. But it would make me stop. I know it would make you stop. That's the whole point. How do you get people excited in the things that you could be doing? This last one is about how much the industry has changed and how much of farms' revenue comes from marketing now. You know, I think that, what does 0 to 30 mean? I don't remember now. What was the left side of that graph referring to?
It looks really good.
It does.
It looks
good.
like more revenues coming from marketing.
It might be years ago. No, can't be that. Anyway, what they realize in order to compete now is they have to market, right? Small business, I mean, farming is still considered small business in most cases. And what I found interesting is that 80% of all the farming revenue is from the Midwest to the East, not to the West. And how do you compete against other people? So is a third generation farmer now bringing in his grandchildren to do his marketing? Perhaps, right? Or someone's coming in and saying, okay, how are we going to do this? How are we going to sit around the table? But those young whippersnappers are helping us get our message out there. Billboards, I don't know what it's like now to be a magazine, a newspaper, a billboard. What's that like now? That's got to be a tough business, right? I got a message from my hometown to stay in contact with them. We got the newspaper for years. Now that's going away. It's all going to be digital. And they just don't have the subscription any longer, right? They don't have the following.
Yeah, they don't have the readers.
Right.
Circulation.
And so when you look at it, how much do we have to do to be part of this? This screen has to be part. You know, when I've talked about night lighting for years, and what does your business look like when it's closed? So if I'm driving down the road and I pass by dry cleaners, it's my dry cleaners. I'm just going to take a quick glance. Yesterday when we passed by Jack's old school, that's my old school. You were going to glance at places that you've been familiar with. What does that look like? So now they're going to glance and hope that their places that they're doing business with are on their screen.
And again, if we go back to what John Paul has said for years, and that's that successful people do all the things that unsuccessful people aren't willing to do. What new ways are we willing to think about Are we willing to think in new ways? Are we willing to position ourselves differently? Are we willing to distill our message so that our message reaches different segments of the market that we're interested in? Or are we just going to keep doing what we've always done? Because I don't think that's the way to move into the future.
Well, what's tough about this is this really does take people sitting around the table and brainstorming. You know, to have a conversation with an owner that says, no one wants to do it. I can't get people to go to education. I can't get people to come to a staff meeting, and it turns ugly and negative right away. How do you think you're going to stand a chance to create momentum with social media? Because it's going to take effort from everybody.
And how are we going to teach our teams who are already probably thinking socially, personally? They have a personal social footprint.
Interest, too.
Yeah, and interest.
Mm-hmm.
How do we get that same team thinking from a professional side, from professional social presence? That's really our key. And so it's talking about, it's like anything else. It's managing by storying around. Great old book. It's telling the stories. It's having a commitment to it. It's being willing to study it, being willing to be uncomfortable on the way to being comfortable with it, just like we were in so many different areas of life and our business life. And it's can you not do it? Yeah, you can not do it. Is there more than one way to be successful? Certainly. There always has been and there always will be. But this is a way that new people are coming into our business, and they're immediately they're accelerating their success rate by mastering this part.
Well, and how about Gen X is not as interested in celebrity anymore?
Millennials.
What's Emma's?
Emma's Gen Z.
Gen Z. So Gen Z is not as interested in celebrities. For example, she's not looking up celebrities on YouTube. She's looking up
YouTubers.
just those crazy people.
Content creators.
Pardon me?
Content creators.
Content creators.
Yep.
Content creators. That's what she watches. She's more interested in just the raw, real crazy at 14, and the humor is ridiculous. I don't understand it at all. But she's not looking at any, she doesn't talk about any celebrities really.
Mm-mm.
Ariana.
Her celebrities are YouTubers.
Mm-hmm.
They just are.
And it doesn't have to be perfect. They don't care what it looks like.
Oh, they're nuts.
Yeah, they're crazy. So how do you go after that? And when they say it doesn't have to be edited, it can be raw. Gosh, at first I'm thinking, are you kidding? It scares me. Then I see I have 2 typos today. Why should it scare me at all? Right? Didn't ruin the message today. And to do those quick stories of just having fun, creating energy, people want to be involved in that. I've always said, no one wants to go to a boring business. They want to be in good hands and where the action is. Right?
Yep.
So what'd you think today? How do we do?
You did okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's a tough topic. I understand how necessary it is, and we're getting better at it. I'm getting better at watching it and giving suggestions in our business. I'm not the one doing it, but I love when I see and when I hear even our team getting excited about what's happening socially on the inside. It goes back to our Christmas parties, and I'll just give you this quick 2 cents on this. For years, I did the Christmas parties at PSC. That was my job. And I would think, okay, I'm going to take them out, and let's all have beautiful steak or prime rib or, a great personalized, beautiful dinner, and maybe even have piano playing. Mickey came up to me one day and said, hey, can I talk to you for a minute? I've been asked to come to you your Christmas parties are awful, and they're boring. And can I do one? Can I try one? And you don't have to do anything. Can I try one and see what the response is? I've never done one since. Mick hosts a wonderful Christmas party. The staff loves it. It's here. It's not even off site. The team all sets it up. We have a good time. It's raw. It's not fancy, right?
Right.
They have a great time. I say that to you as a comparison to social media. Don't try to be perfect and a piano player and anything because you're my age and you think everything's got to be a certain standard of, let's say, elegance because that's what you want for your customer. Not necessary. Just like the Christmas parties. They're still fun. They still have the same intention. They just are delivered differently. This is a different type of delivery to get your message out.
Mm-hmm.
And trust the younger people that need that kind of option to create connection. I guess that's a good way to end. Yeah?
Yes.
Good. Good day. Happy Easter. We'll see you next month.
Thanks.
I don't know what the topic is. Do you? We always say we're going to
We
say
always
it.
say, you know.
Okay, I don't know.
Thank you.
April. Goodbye.